Yerushalmi somewhat. Oh, it's different. I got it to you. It's not all of it the same, but I got it to the time second. But don't worry, tonight it's all over. Back to the grind. So, middle of the story with the 80 witches, and we're on Daf Yud Alpha and Beis. So he said to these 80 guys, if I whistle once, when I whistle once, put on your dry clothes. When I whistle second time, come in. And once they come in, they should pick everybody off the ground. So now we're up to the fifth line down. Also, so he went and he stood at the opening to the cave. And he said to the witches inside, Oyim, which means somebody says here in Greek, but I don't know if it's true or not. But somebody says in Greek it means that it's holy ones. So he called them an honorific to deceive them, to think that he also was a believer in witchcraft and sorcery. So he said, Oyim pischuli, to me because I'm one of you. So they said, how did you come to here today with such rain? And it's a very rainy day. So he said, so he said, I walk between the drops. So they said, what'd you come to do? So he said, Mela, I came to learn umilfa, to learn and to teach. Every one of you should come and teach me whatever they know to do. Every one of them would say what they could do. Umaisa Pita. This one would say what she could say and bring a piece of bread. And this one would say what she could say, Umaisa Kupat, and bring meat. In other words, that's how she would do her witchcraft. This another one would say what she would say. Umaisa Tavshir, she would bring cooked dishes. Alright, another one would say what she would say. Umaisa Chamar, bring wine. Every way show their incantations. So then they said to Shimon Chetach, Atma Isbach Avad. What do you have that you can do? So he said to them, I had the following trick. Sapphire, train suffering, I can whistle twice. I can bring you 80 outstanding men. You should be happy with them. They'll make you happy, meaning that you can be licentious with them. So they said, this is what we want. So he whistled once, and then they put on their dry clothes. He whistled second time, and they all came in at once. They said, anybody who comes, Yachkum Zuke, and should meet his mate, Vital Ninun, and carry her, Va'azlun, and come, Vital Vanun, and hang them. So it's once they came and they took all these witches, they took them and hung them. Literally, Vital Vanun, of course, means to crucify them, but I don't know, because it's before Yoshka, so it didn't have the same symbolism it has today. Okay? So they went and they hung them. That's how it was learned. That there was an episode of Shimon Chetach, Shetola Noshim Ashkelon, who hung 80 women in Ashkelon. They said, Shmonim Shetola Noshim Ashkelon, they told a young woman in Ashkelon. They said, Shmonim Noshim Tola, he hung 80 women. Then we have principle, you can't judge two cases in one sitting, so how can you judge all 80 cases at once? So says the Gemara, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov learned Shamati, I heard Shonchim Shalok Halacha, basis in permission to punish, which would not according to strict letter of the law, V'onchim, and punish Shalok Torah, not according to strict ruling of the Torah, when necessary. Ad Eichon, how far do they have this authority? Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Yossi Omer, Akadei Zimzum, to the point of Zimzum. Now the point of Zimzum is a little bit of machlokas. The according to the Korban Eda, that means to the point that we can there's an understanding that they did an avera, right? But it has to be with some evidence. There has to be some. Zimzum literally means, according to the Korban Eda, a rumor or a contention which is understood, even though it's not testified. So in that case, Basin can punish and judge and punish, even if they don't have the strict letter of the law, in order to maintain the law and order in the Klal Yisrael. The Pnei Moshe says that Akadei Zimzum means until the point that Eidim would become Zomimim. In other words, you cannot allow, obviously, once testimony has been found to be Zomim, to be false, you can't allow that to be the basis of a court ruling. But you can get up to the point, in other words, you can take it as far as you know, where you take it further, you would inevitably be able to undermine these witnesses. But right now, since they're not undermined, basically can rely on them and use them, even though they're questionable, in order for Basin to achieve whatever aims it has in terms of punishing the wayfarers and the evildoers. Okay, so Zimzum either means either up to the point that they have valid evidence, or up to the point that they have not yet reached clear-cut evidence that the witnesses perjured themselves. Okay, that's the difference between Korban and Pnei Moshe. Rabbi Yossi Amar be'edim, that you need to. It's about a case where it's based in Makav Onesh, Shalok Halacha, Shalok Torah, when they have witnesses avalo b'asor, but they do not have warning. Ma'aser she'echol b'echad sheyatza l'chov al susa b'Shabbos. So Ma'aser, a certain individual went to ride on his horse on Shabbos. Ve'aviu le'beis, they brought it to Basin. V'saklu, and they stoned it. Why? Below Shvus Shabbos, it's only this is the Rabbanah to ride on a horse on Shabbos. El shoysa shot tzricha l'kach. People were being machal Shabbos left and right. So therefore, in order to make an example of this individual, they stoned him despite the fact that it was above and beyond what he deserved, according to the level of his crime. Well, not necessarily, because here it says Eidim below Asra can make you liable, right? Yeah. If necessary, a raw shah, if we just want to kill you because of Chil Shabbos, because we have some extenuating circumstances. Another case of this kind, a fellow walked down the highway with his wife, and he went with his wife behind a fence, and they had relations. They viewed the basis, and he went to the base of Ilku, and they flogged him. So I asked him, why they flogged him? It was his wife. So it's because he degraded himself publicly and had relations with her in an open area. And again, it was like a time when there was obviously a lot of licentious behavior. So therefore, in order to fortify the halacha, they went and they didn't stone him at least, but they went and they flogged him. Okay? Halacha Gimel. Beishama mivim shlomim vein tzom chaleh. Beishama says it means shlomim ayotif, but you can't do smicha on them. V'avolos, but you can't bring olos. V'somim mivim shlomim ve'olos, you can bring both, and v'som chaleh, you can do smicha on them as well. Beishama mutar smicha shelo kedarko. Beishama says the reason why we don't allow smicha today is because we allow smicha not in its proper time, meaning from the day before. There's so many low trust smicha shelo kedarko. You can never do smicha the day before. It has to be at the self-same time that the korban is brought. Ezu smicha shelo kedarko me'asmo. And what is the smicha? Ezu smicha shelo kedarko? What's considered to be smicha shelo kedarko? Me'asmo, do it the day before. Rabbi 00 said, Kol Ama Mode, everybody concedes. B'Asher Mitzorah, that if you have an Asher brought by a Mitzorah, Shesamach Le'Mesmo, that he did Smicha on it yesterday, it should be not Lo Yotza, but Yotza. It was Yotze. Why? Because an Asher Mitzorah cannot come to the Beis HaMikdash when his carbon is made. I mean Asher Mitzorah. Mitzorah can't come to the Beis HaMikdash when his Asher is made. Why not? He's still a Mitzorah, right? He still has leprosy, right? So therefore you can do Smicha. Must you do Smicha at some interruption, not at directly the same time as his carbon would have been brought. So if that's the case, we see that by a Mitzorah, the Smicha does not have to be done immediately prior to the Shechita, right? In juxtaposition to the Shechita. So that's what it says. B'Asher Mitzorah shesamach le'Mesmo, again it should be Yotza. Everybody agrees you're Yotze. Shalmi Nedova shesamach le'Mesmo. If you have, however, Shalmi Nedova, which you did Smicha upon the day before, it should everybody agrees. I don't say how come sorry. Shayo Saleh Matzmo Lo Yotza. You're not Yotze. Why? Because you need to have Smicha generally immediately adjacent to Shechita. So what's the machlokas? Mapligin, B'Shalmi Chagigah. We're talking about Shalmi Chagigah. B'Shalmi, the Shloim which have to do specifically with Yotam. B'Shalmi of the B'Shalmi made them, it should be Kasha Mitzorah. And therefore you can do the Smicha the day before. B'Sil of the they made them, it should be like Kashalmi Yadov, and therefore you do the Smicha on that day at Yotam itself. On Rabbi Yosef said, hey, that Amr Asher Mitzorah Shalmach Ve'Elah Be'Esmo, that which you said in Asher Mitzorah, they did Smicha the day before, it should be Yotza, that you're Yotze, Bismano. That's talking about when we're talking about Asher Mitzorah is doing the carbon at the minimum amount of time after he starts the stara process. Ibrismano, however, if the time has passed already, in other words, he's not doing it at the earliest possible moment, so in Nasa Shalmi Chagigah, it's like Shalmi Chagigah, and therefore, since it's like Shalmi Chagigah, you would have to do Smicha. Okay? At the same time the korban is brought. Amr Beisil Beishamai. Now getting back to the Mishnah, Beisil said to Beishamai, Ma'im B'Shah Shani Oser Lehedyot, in a time when not being allowed to bring korbanos for common people on Shabbos. Harani Matzi Lagavoa, I allow korbanos to Hashem. B'Shah Shani Matzi Lehedyot, at the time when I allow common people to practice, right, which is at the time of Yontif, right, they're allowed to Ochel Nefesh. So ain't no din not to go was not kavachom that is allowed the smicha to be done for a korban brought l'kavoa. Amle Beishamai said no, it's not true. I'll prove to you it's not true. But ain't a darn medavos yochichu. A voluntary korban will prove that's not true. Shem mutar legend they're permissible for a regular common person. And they're forbidden for on high. They're forbidden for a carbon. So, in the meaning that and Yotav, of course, you can bring the Darim and Davos. Why can you bring the Darim and Davos? Because that's Ochel Nefesh, right? Darim and Davos where you can eat from. Shlomim you can eat from. So then you can bring that Yotav, right? But you can't bring Olos on Yotav. Since you can't bring Olos on Yotav, you can't do Smicha on Yotav either. That's what he's saying. Okay, again, the Beis Hillel said to Beishamai, at the time when I'm forbidden to do karbanos for a regular person, which is Shabbos, I'm allowed to do karbanos for Hashem, karbanos Tami. When I'm allowed to karbanos even for an individual, which is Yotav, I should certainly be allowed to karbanos with smicha for Hashem. And Beishamai said, no, prove to you it's not the case. They're in the Dharma and the Davos. The Davos are permitted to bring for a commoner. They're also bring for Hashem, right? So we see that the parameters are not necessarily Kav Chomer. Armalem Beishamai also said, Lo Yimamartem bin Adar Medava She'ain. Well, they Lo Yimamartem Adar Medava She'ain Zmanam Kabua. If you said by Adar Medavos, which don't have a set time. I'm sorry, I meant something wrong. Armalem Beis Hillel. I said Beishamai. Beis Hillel said, Lo Yimamartem Adar Medava She'ain Kabua Zmanam Kabua. Oh, sorry, I think I made a mistake. Yeah, I made a slight mistake. Beishamai, let's go back one line. Amle Beishamai said, "Read the Torah Medavos Yochichu." Not that you can read the Medavos at all. The way it's already saying Mutar Lagal, you're allowed the Mutar Lagal. It just means the type of meat. The Torah Medavos optionally allowed to have optional meat as a commoner, not that you're allowed to bring the Torah Medavos on Yom Tov. That's not permissible. The Torah Medavos cannot be brought on Yom Tov because they're not Tzorech. I don't know if it's not Tzorech Ochel Nefesh, but we said earlier, I think in the last Masechta Beitzah, that it's like a Korban LaHashem, which you get a chelik from, even if it's Shlomim. So therefore, it's not considered meat for you. It's not Ochel Nefesh. Remember, Mishuchon Gavoa Kazachu. We get it from Hashem indirectly, kind of. So therefore, that's not a case. So therefore, that's a case where I say that you're not allowed to bring it on Yosef. So therefore, the Shammai said, just like you can't do that Yosef, you can't do Smich on Yosef. So says the Gemara, Beisil retorted. Beisil said, "Lo Martin the Dorim the Dova Shekel was man kavua." The Dorim Dova said, "We set time. Bring him tomorrow." So therefore, you don't bring a Yontif, and therefore you don't do Smicha then because you don't bring them on Yontif. Korban Chagigah as opposed to the Korban Chagigah, she's mana kavua, which has a set time. So the set time is to bring it on Yontif. So every bring it, you do Smicha as well. So says the Gemara, Amalem Beishamai, Yerushalmi said to him, Chagigah aids mana kavua. Chagigah also doesn't have a set time. She lo chag b'rishon. We didn't do Chagigah the first day Yotiv. Only B'shei, you do Chagigah the second day Yotiv. She lo chag b'shei. We didn't do it on second day Yotiv. Chagigah shlish, do it third day Yotiv. Then Beisil said, true, you can do it any day of Yotiv, but still has this man kavua, set time. Chagigah's mana kavua. Chagigah's a set time. She lo chag b'regel. You don't do it during the 7 days after Yotiv. And the Yochel Chugacharel, you can't do it after Yotiv. Supposed to any other type of Nedarim Nedavos. Parmalem Beishamai said, but look, right now, I don't say, anything which is eaten by a soul could be done. So actual karbanos which are not eaten by a soul, the olos. Now, it's different talking about the olos. How can you bring it? So it says the Gemara. Beishamai said, Mishram Raya, but that's proof. Lochem Eino Nase can't be made for you. Avol Nasu Lugavoa. Okay, made for Hashem. So it's like every Yontif has. 1 second. Yeah, it was like we said earlier, Masechta Beitzah already, that Ochel Nefesh includes Gavoa, because Hashem is part and parcel of, so to speak, a responsibility to feed. So everybody holds it can bring Karbanos to Gavoa on Yotiv as well. Abishol says a slightly different reason, which we had already. Abishol Meritam, another reason, which is basically the same. Mayim B'Shosha Kiras Chastuma, Tapa Yud Beis Amrav. At the time when your oven is stopped off on Shabbos, the fire of your Rebbe is open in the Beis HaMikdash. When your fires are open on Yontif, right? And that your master's flame in the Beis HaMikdash should be on. All these Karbanos Shlomim basically is trying to say, since they're gone the master's flame, they can be brought on Yotiv as well. Yet another svara, Eino Badin, the reason why you can make Shlomim on Yotiv is, Eino Dim, it's not proper, Shehei Shulchancha Moli, that your table should be full, but Shulchan Koncha Reikom, and the table of your creator should be empty. Okay, in any event, says Gemara, Rabbi Yossi Rabun, Everyone said, Shimon Lakish have over Kumei Sidra. Shimon Lakish is passing by the base medrash. The Shama Kolon Kari Hodem Sukkah. And you heard the voice of the people that started reading this pasuk. Ba'is B'chul Hashem Elu Zvachim, they sacrificed to Hashem Zvachim, which are generally taken to be slaughtered of Shlomim. And then Vayalu Olos Lashem Lemachasayamahu. They brought Olos to Hashem the next day. So this is the pasuk which he overheard him saying. Amar. So he said, Reish Lakish said, Ma de mafsik leika Beis Shammai. He who puts a punctuation mark in the middle, it's like Beis Shammai. Ma de korakule, he who reads the entire pasuk as one, ke Beis Hillel, that's going like Beis Hillel. So let's read that both ways. If you read Vayizuchul Hashem's Vachim, Vayalu Olos Lashem, L'Machar Sayom, so that means that right, that you couldn't bring the Olos on Yontif itself. You have to bring the Olos the next day, right? If, however, you read it not like that, but rather no, I read it the wrong way the first time. Should be, if you read it, Vayizbuchul Hashem Zvachim Vayalu Olos LaHashem. Actually, I read it the other way. 1 second. This is the way you have to read it. If you read the pasuk Vayizbuchul Hashem Zvachim Vayalu Olos LaHashem, they sacrificed Shlomim and they did Olos, and then you read the L'Machar Sayom as a different phrase. That's what they did the next day. That's like Beis Hillel. They do Zvachim and Olos on Yontif. But if you do Vayizbuchul Hashem Zvachim, comma Vayalu Olos LaHashem L'Machar Sayom, they did the Olos on the next day. That's like Beis Shammai, right? Because the Olos now have to bring on Yontif, because they don't hold as far as they said before. So if you read it that they did the Olos the next day as well, then that's like Beis Shammai. If they did the Olos on the day of Shavuos when it came out on Shabbos, on Yontif, well, Shabbos, on Yontif. If it came out on Yontif, so then obviously Shavuos comes out on Yontif. Let me rephrase that to cover the fact that Shavuos comes out on Yontif. If they brought the Olos on Yontif, that's Beis Hillel. If you punctuate the pasuk to read that way, then the pasuk goes like Beis Hillel. If the Olos they say for the next day, because you can't do Olos on Yontif, because not Ochel Nefesh for you, that's like Beis Shammai. If you punctuate the pasuk that way, that pasuk is going like Beis Shammai, right? Says the Gemara, Nicha Olos L'Machar Sayom. I understand Olos they would do the next day. But Ahu Shlomi L'Machar Sayom. But what about Shlomi the next day? Is there such a thing? Vein Shlomi Boink Beis Shammai. Don't Shlomi come on Pesach even according to Beis Shammai? On Shavuos. Even according to Beis Shammai. I understand we're asking the question, because according to Beis Shammai we divide the pasuk in half. So Taka the Zvachim we did on Yontif, not the next day. 1 second. minutes. I forgot how you punctuate the pasuk. I'm not sure how to do it. Okay, I wrote to the march and my Gemara here. Good. Nichos l'machras hayom. I understand if you say also l'machras the next day. No matter what, it's good. Both according to Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai. Because according to Beit Hillel, you can bring him today, you can bring him tomorrow. According to Beit Shammai, you can only bring him tomorrow. But Shloimeh, hu Shloimeh l'machras hayom. Veit Shloimeh boim even ki Beit Shammai. According to the opinion which says that you read it all together, right? You read it all together. So you read it in one fell swoop. It actually doesn't come out that they did everything today. It comes out they did everything tomorrow. So how can you say that? It's either that they did Yerushalmi today and the Olos tomorrow, or they did the Yerushalmi and Olos tomorrow. It says at the end of the pasuk they did everything tomorrow, right? So they did it tomorrow. So either they did, and the sequence is Yerushalmi, Olos tomorrow. So you can read Olos tomorrow and Shloimeh today, which works out fine. Both according to Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai. Although according to Beit Hillel, you even could have done the Olos today, right? But you could read that everything was done tomorrow. So on that second approach, the Gemara asks, even like Beit Shammai, Shloimeh can be done today, right? You just get the smicha. But Shloimeh themselves can be done. What's the problem with Shloimeh? So says the Gemara, very interesting answer. Rabbi Yisrael Boon said, David meis b'atzeres. This, when they were carnating Shlomo and they were sacrificing all these karbanos, it was Shavuos. And David died on Shavuos. But you so owning him, and all of Am Yisrael were in the state of Aninos, they were too depressed to eat karbanos. That's why they sacrificed Shlomo, not that day of Shavuos, but the next day instead. Okay, very interesting. I got it to resolution to a halachic question. The question is why I put off the Shlomo until tomorrow. The Agadic resolution as well. It's not really Agadic, but the answer is historical. That everybody was available for David, so therefore they didn't want to eat karbanos that day. No, you don't have to. If it would have been a stinker king, they wouldn't have done it. But David was a righteous king, so therefore they wanted to maintain his dignity or maintain his. They were depressed by his departure. Right, this is not in permission. It's not lack of permission. This is just, sentimental kind of thing. They want briskers. Okay. Says Gemara, Maisa Bil Azokin. This Maisa also brought down the Bavli. We had in the Bavli. Maisa Bil Azokin Shevi Alosul Azor. He brought us all the Azor. The Savachalav, he did smich on it. Oh, Chibar loved Talmidei Beit Shammai. Talmidei Beit Shammai surrounded him. Kitzchil Makashkish Biznava, so they started waving the tail at them. Do you remember the waving of the tail? Armland, so he said, we had just in Bavli Beitza. Armland, so he said to them that Runa Kevoi. It's really a female. I didn't intend to bring it whole. I brought a Shlami. He flees for him. He talked to them at great length. And they finally left. There was one day in which Beit Shammai was supreme. They wanted to proskin as they held, based on the Hill's capitulation to them. They are allowed to bring sacrifice an animal to base in the. You're not allowed to sacrifice an ola on Yontif, right? So Bikshu Balach Divrei Vayeshem Balim Memduta Vitali Beit Shammai's Balim Buta was one of the students of Beit Shammai. Yodei Nu Shalok Beit Hillel like Beit Hillel. So what happened? Pam Achas Nichlas. So once he came into Azor and Yontif, with Tzol Shemamis he found desolate. Amar, so he said, Yishomu Batein Shalelu. May the house of my fellow members of Beit Shammai become desolate. Shrimu as Beit Hillel because they caused the Beit Hamikdash to become desolate. Umasa, what did he do? Sharch maybe shlosh talafim tilei mitzom kador. He went to send for 4,000 sheep from the sheep of Kador, the excellent sheep. Ubikon Mumin. Now he checked they had no mum. V'amina barabais, and he put them into the Temple Mount. And he said to them, Shmuni achai beis Yisrael. Listen to my brethren, the children of Israel. B'shuroitze yavi olos v'zobah v'buta doing. He said, B'shuroitze, anybody wants, yavi olos, to bring olos, yavi v'yismok. Should come and do smicha on them. Yavi shlomim, if you want to bring shlomim, v'yismok, you can come and do smicha as well. And we, from Bob and Buta, made a point that even on olos you could do smicha on Yontif, so you can bring them and do smicha on them, right? And that, so obviously that's like Beisilo. Both Roshah and Ikbar look at Beisilo because one of the members of Beis Shammai stuck up for Elul's position. Which is a very interesting thing. Nobody said anything. On Rabbi Yitzhak said a parable to explain this. It said Kasa b'Sherusa, a cup which you want to heat up at the beginning of a meal. And the boy mila Sherusa literally means a meal. Boy milui kasa, you must fill up a cup. The kisa mine of thin thorns. The kisa mineu bay. One second. Can't read wrong. One second. Yeah, I punctuated wrong. This cup in the meal, boy milui. It requires a milui kasa kisa requires a cup full of sticks. Now what it means is like this. The way the Korban explains it, many interpretations here. The way the Korban explains it, it means that if something was already heated up once, it's easier to heat it up again. So it was never heated up, it's harder to heat it up again. So the kasa b'sherusa is a cup which was never heated up. Since it was never heated up, then you need a basket full of sticks or twigs in order to light it. If it's once been heated up, if the cup has already been heated up once, and just cooled down a little bit, they don't need as much to heat it up. So too, originally Hillel could have won the argument with the one animal he brought to the Beis Hamikdash, had he, taken a stand. But since he didn't take a stand, both and Muta had to bring thousands of animals in order to prove the point. That long looks like Basil in this regard. Okay? Says more further, another mineu bay, which means a mushal on the burning coal itself. Kol gumat lo kavi b'shaita, any coal which doesn't burn at its proper time, lo kavi, it's never going to burn. Right? It has to be the right time. It has to strike where the animal's on. Ma'isa be'echad mitalmidei Basil, and the Ma'isa happened later on after Bavad Bebuta, Sok Basil, Ma'isa happened with the students of Basil. Shevi mi'olas lazar, he brought his old Tazara. V'samach lav, and he did smicha on Yontif. V'ro echad mitalmidei Beis Shammai, one student of Beis Shammai saw him and said, Amrullah, and he said to him, Mazu smicha. What is the smicha that you're doing? Amrullah, so he said to him, Mazu shtika. Where's your silence? Basically what we say in contemporary English, shut up, right? In other words, halach is like us. The Shatzkov and Nazifa silenced him with a sharp rebuke, and the student of Beis Shammai left. So from here we see that you actually can do olos and shlamim and do smicha and you'll to this one. Okay? Halach now. Atzer shchal yoserev Shabbat. If Shavuos comes on a Friday, yeah, this past year, that's right. B'shamrim Yom Tevuach, when do you slaughter the Chagigos? Achar Shabbos, Sunday. Okay? V'silmim ein lohem yom tvach. There is no yom tvach on that day, that year. Umodim. Now, of course, you might ask why we don't do it on Shavuos, right? So the answer is according to Beis Shammai, you can't. There is no such thing. According to Beis Shammai, you can never do olos on Yom Tov, right? So when are you going to do the olos? You can't do it on Yom Tov. You can't do it next day, which is Shabbos. When are you going to do it? Sunday. According to Beis Hillel, there's no such thing, because Beis Hillel holds it. When are you going to do the olos in that case? Friday on Shavuos itself, right? So the Umodin, they agree, Shimchali is b'Shabbos, that if Shavuos comes out on Shabbos, then of course you can't do any Chagigos or Olos. Shiyom Tuvach Lachar Shabbos, they do the celebration after Shabbos. Vein Kohen Gadol Mislavish Godav. However, on that Yom Tuvach, which is the day after Shabbos, after Shavuos, a Kohen Gadol does not get dressed up in his finery. Mutar Mesatayis, and what is allowed to be involved in eulogy and fasting. Shlokayim Estibur, why is that? Shlokayim Estibur Omi Atzeres Lachar Shabbos. Lord, not just the same. The Sadducees who say Shavuos always comes out on a what? Sunday. Right? Because they say Machos of Shabbos is literal. Right? So it's an interesting thing. The interesting thing is that Yom Tevach, the day which you bring a korban, anybody brings a korban, on any occasion, you're not allowed to do any malacha. Seems to Rabbanan. Not allowed to do any malacha. We've had that, not recently that I recall, but you're not allowed to do any malacha. But the thing is, Chazal, in order that the Tzdokim shouldn't think that Sunday is actually Shavuos, they allowed you to make a hesped and tainus. Isn't that interesting? You're not allowed to do work, but you're allowed to make a hesped and tainus. In order that that was just because of the Tzdokim. So it's interesting why they picked and chose what takonis they wanted. Obviously, there was some reason for that. But another interesting, which Yerushalmi brings down here, which really is not relevant to the sugya at all. Zilch, zero, probably negative. But he brings it down because he wrote it in another sefer, which he wrote, and he liked it, obviously. He says, why do we say Lo Niach Tefillin as a bracha? What really should we say? Say Lo Niach Tefillin on mitzvah tefillin? What should we say? Should say Laniach Totofos. Because it doesn't say tefillin anywhere in Tanakh. So he says, we say Laniach Tefillin and mitzvah tefillin, L'hotzi Milimon Shel Tzdokim. Because the Tzdokim would not have, they wouldn't have recognized the Aramaic as having any validity, but so we, in order to give it validity, we say al tefillin, al laniach. I thought Totov, are you sure Totov is not a noun? It means the bias? Well, no, he doesn't exactly how to translate because it's not Hebrew. Maybe that's not the reason. Totov is not a Hebrew word in and of itself. Maybe that's part of it. There are words in Chumash which are not Hebrew. Not too many, but Totov, as it says, Pat in one language is two, and Pat in another language is two. So it means that it's not Hebrew, it's a conglomeration of words. Sotnas Paneach is not Hebrew either, right? It's in the Torah. What? No. Yigar Sadusa. Okay, so it says where Atzeres Shechal Yotzer Shabbos, and Atzeres comes out on Friday. B'Shamar Yom Tov. This is basically a repeat of our Mishnah. Yom Tov Shlo Achar Shabbos. We do the Shefti of Los after Shabbos. B'Sarim Ein Yom Tov. There is a Yom Tov. Yom Tvucha. On Shavuos itself on Friday, bring all the kavos you need to bring. Beishamai Omer Yom Tovach Shalachar Shabbos. So Beishamai says Yom Tovach is after Shabbos. Vein Kelim Mislavish, Vein Kohen Mislavish B'Kelim Mikav Chomer. And Kohen doesn't wear his finery because of Kav Chomer. Umayim B'Shor Sheisham Shlomim Olos. At a time when there are Shlomim and Olos in the Beis HaMikdash. So at that time, Kedivei Beisil ain't Kohen Gadol Mislavish B'Kelim. Kohen Beisil, the Kohen Gadol does not wear his finery at that time. Why not? Right, because it's no, but it's a Friday. Kedivei Beisil, it's on Friday. No, I goofed. Okay, this is Umayim B'Shor. Bad goof. Umayim B'Shor. I didn't underline the right carbonate. Yes.
So, this makes sense that both compost is a synonym of
What?
always carry that it's like people pour a style one to the other.
So what?
That's how you translate what compost is host. It's a sign of
Do they translate to Tavos as host? But it says Unklus? Unklus. Who translates to Tavos as host? We are not impressed. We need chapter and verse. Sorry. Back to the proverbial drawing board. Oh yeah, it was on the internet today. He didn't have a baby daughter, a baby granddaughter. Okay. New York, yeah. Why you? I wanted to talk. They didn't have. Good thing she waited. They didn't have electricity last night. 2 nights ago. It's a big blackout in Washington Heights. Just in Washington Heights. 155th Street and North. So, all right. So it says what it means like this. Is the Gemara is saying Mayim B'Shor Sheishim Shloim V'Os is not non-Shavuos itself. It means when Shavuos comes on Shabbos and the Yom Tovach is on Sunday, even according to Beis Hillel in that case, right? If Shavuot comes on Shabbos and the Yom Tovach is Sunday, but the Kohen Gadol doesn't get dressed up, lo tzim liman shel tzdokim, right? So that's what we're saying. Umayim B'Shor she'yeshem shloim olos, when Yom Tovach is on Sunday, because Shavuot came out on Shabbos. So after the day of the slaughter in Hebrew, Yom Tovach comes out on Sunday. So then there's a full-blown Yom Tovach. Kedivei Beisil, never according to Beisil, even according to Beisil. Nevertheless, they Kohen Gadol Mislavish Kill. Kohen Gadol is not wear his finery. B'Shasha ain't Shloim Olos. At a time when there is no Shloim Olos, because Shavuos came out on Friday, right? And you can be makriv on Friday, at least Shlomim. So therefore, there aren't Shloim Olos together when Sunday comes. Beishamai lo koshke is not Kav Chomer, that you don't wear your finery. Okay, so that's how we know you don't wear your finery when it comes out on Sunday. Now, Kasav Echad Omer, one pasuk says, getting to the idea of Yom Tovach, and finally alluded to in the Torah. One pasuk says, V'chaga katzir b'korei ma'asecha. It says, the holiday of harvest, when you're being the b'korei from your deeds. Now we understand the holiday of your harvest sounds like the harvest holiday. And it's the harvest holiday, it sounds like you could harvest on Shavuos itself. That's what it sounds like. Chag HaKatzir. the holiday of harvest. Now I admit that this is not such great. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is not the best diuk I ever heard. But the Gemara has an axe to grind here. Chag HaKotzir sounds like it's a harvest holiday, meaning you're harvesting on the holiday. Okay?
So this is Hagosif.
And but there's Chol HaMoed Sukkos, there's no Chol HaMoed Shavuos. So how do you learn it, right? That's what we're driving at. So what Pasuk says, Chag HaKotzir Bikurim, what Pasuk says, don't do any melacha over lo tasu. Don't do any melacha. How can you reconcile these psukim? So b'shashu chabachol. So I'll tell you. When Yontif comes out a weekday, al chogeg v'shoves, you do the korbanos chagigah on that day, and you rest on that, and you rest from the right, because it's Yontif. However, when Shavuos comes out on Shabbos, l'mochor, the next day, Sunday, at chogeg, you do your korbanos chagigah. V'kaitzer, on the same day, you're allowed to harvest. So that's Chag, meaning the Korbanos Chagigah, HaKotzir, on a day when you can harvest, which is not bad, okay? So Rabbi Yisrael Rabun said a very interesting thing. Remember that Yom Tovach, the day which you bring the korban to the Beis HaMikdash, is forbidden in Malacha. You know how to do Malacha. Now it's not literally Nisa Doraisa, perhaps, but Rabbanan said don't do Malacha any day bring a korban. So therefore, if it's a Chag HaKotzir, how are you supposed to be kotzer? You can't do the kotzer because you're not allowed to do malacha and then we bring korban. So it says Moravachi Yavlim, as long as whatever you harvest you put into the dough for the challah for Yontif. So then it becomes tzorech ochel. Well, not your challah for Yontif, but your challah, your bread for that day, for that Sunday. So it's an interesting thing. For Yontif, of course, we wouldn't allow this. But Yontif itself. But this Sunday, after Shavuos, it's not really the Yontif, it's the Yom Tovach. It's just a day to make up your lost korban. So therefore we say you're really not supposed to do malacha on a day when you bring korban. But since we want to fulfill the parameters of Chag HaKotzir, and of course to preclude the Stoking point of view, so therefore we let you do malacha as long as it can be absorbed in your dough of that day. Okay? So it says what called the Tani. That we learned. How do we know they're forbidden to do malacha on a day when we bring korban? Like it says, Lein Inish, therefore a person, you have a love who has a covenant by himself an obligation of Ein Bikurin to bring wood or Bikurin based on Mikdash. So he says he wants to bring wood to the Mizbeach. The Kizim, blocks of woods for the Marocha, for the top of the Mizbeach. Also he's forbidden He's forbidden on the day of being his korban to do hesped and tainus and malacha, no matter what. Okay, now, so therefore, it's certainly that's the case that it's better to I don't mean better. You have to you're doing malacha on that day. If Yom Tovach has to be malacha, which somehow relates to the purpose of that day, not any excess malacha because of the Isser malacha. Okay, modim shech, now going a bit further. Modim shim chalish b'Shabbos. Both the Shammai Bitzel concede. Who's coming in? Okay, have fun. Modim shimchala lios b'Shabbos. Everybody agrees that if it comes out on Shabbos, sheyom tvach shelo achar Shabbos. If we said if Shavuos comes out on Shabbos, that the Yom Tvach is after Shabbos. But Beis Hillel says, well, all right, ha really means it's not a question, but rather a statement. Beis Hillel says Yom Tvach shelo achar Shabbos, that the day of the Shechti is after Shabbos. Oro Shomi, who gets the hides of the karbanos. Meaning, technically, it's not Shavuos anymore. So technically, it should belong to the Mishmor whose day it is. So who's going to get the hides? Is it back to the Mishmor whose day it is, or do all the Kohanim get portions in these hides? So Tavi b'Shem Rabbi Yosef said he's spelled from Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish. B'Shem Lakish, Machlokas. Rabbi Yochanan Ma'ashel Kol Mishmaros, they divide up equally. B'Shem Lakish Shomer shall oisa Mishmar of that Shabbos. There's some say that, and here the Girsa is different on the side. Take a look on the side. That it wasn't Tavi who said this over, but just was a generic tradition in the base Medrash. Look on the side, it says Yom Tvach La'achar Shabbos instead of Yom Tov. Yom Tvach La'achar Shabbos, when this Yom Tvach comes on Sunday, Orel Shomi, who gets the hides, say Machlokas just without being attributed to Tavi. Pluk to Rabbi Yochanan B'Shem Lakish, Machlokas B'Shem Lakish, as we just said. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan had said, this is where we pass to visit Tachnun, of course. Hatzeres yesh lo tashlumin kol shiva. Imagine if we pass like Yom Tvach. How many days would we get not to say Tachnun after Shavuos? 1 day. 1 miserable day. Which anyway we have because of Mitzvah Chag. So therefore, Baruch Hashem, we pass like Rabbi Yochanan, that you get all 7 days after Shavuos. Right? Says the Gemara, hates Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef asked, how can you give Shavuos 7 days? But how do we learn just like a month is 30 days and then 1 day Rosh Chodesh. So to Shavuos, after you count 50 days, it's 1 day. Rabbi Law said, no, Shem Lo, it's true that Shavuos itself is 1 day. When we're saying you get an extra 7 days, it's Shem Lo Chag V'Rishon. If you didn't do your Chagigah the first day, Chayyei Kol Shiva, you get all the rest 7 days afterwards. Rabbi Yosef, now, getting back to the other issue of our Mishnah. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi B'Shem Levi said, V'chol Yom Kohen Gadol Mislabesh, everything Kohen Gadol could get dressed with Caleb in his finery. Ubo Makriv, Tamid Shoben Rabbi Shachar. You come and sacrifice the Tamid in the morning. Im Yeshu Dorim and Adovas, that there are optional korbanos, which he wants to sacrifice. Umakrivim V'olech, he continues to sacrifice the entire day. V'ochel B'soch Beis, and then he comes to eat in his house. Uba Makriv Shel Tamid Shoben Rabbi, then he goes to the Tamid Shoben Rabbi. Uba V'lom Lishkos Balhedron, then he goes to sleep in the Lishkos Balhedron. And that's of course a big, not so simple, because why can he go home at night? And the Shari Torah starts to so changes to the Skir, so he says that in the middle of the day he's holech v'ochem b'soch beitzo, he goes to eat in his b'soch b'shkus baredrin, he goes to eat in the office, and at night he goes home. Okay. Now Rabbi Yehuda B'Shem Rishon Levi said lo he wouldn't do this ela b'Shabbos, here we're talking about Shabbos and Yom Tov. Now it's interesting. It sounds like a machlokas. And for the continuation where attack seems into machlokas for sure. But the Shari Torah so brings on that Josephus writes that when the Romans conquered the land of Israel, they, actually now when they can't conquer, but when they took firm control after Herod's time, they actually would keep the garments of the Kohen Gadol locked up in their fortress next to the Beis HaMikdash. So the Kohen Gadol did only have access to it when they unlocked it for him, and that was only in Shabbos and Yom Tov. So it's not actually a machlokas. One opinion, it's not that, according to the Josephus, it's not that one opinion holds that he used to wear the finest garments every day, and the other holds just our Shabbos and Yom Tov, rather chronologically. Until the Romans came, he used to wear it every day, and once the Romans came, he only could wear it on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Okay, it's a very interesting point. But he says here, it's not much away from the Gemara further, because it says here, each tiny those who say a tzitz meratza mitzcho. The tzitz, the little plate which said Kodesh Hashem, only atones for improperly brought karbanos when it's on his forehead. Each tiny those who said afilu bezavis, even if it's sitting in the corner, it's not on his forehead. He said it's only in pieces if it's on his forehead. But Yom Mitzchot Tamid says that's because it is forehead. Man marfil bezav, if you set it over pieces, only even if it's sitting in a corner, may ador the Yom Kippur, it's because of the proof is on Yom Kippur, that he wouldn't wear it because he would wear the white garments. Nevertheless, obviously he assumes the tzitzum and rats at that time. Now, man the mar, he who says, ha-tzitzum rats on mitzvah, tzitzum only tones when it's on his forehead, the Seir Rabbi Yosef Rabun, that the Kohen Gadol used to wear his finery every day. Man marfil bezav, he who says who's even in the corner, the Seir Rabbi that's Rabbi Yukva, they only put on Shabbos and Yom Tov. So it's interesting, Rabbi Yukva holds, again, it's obviously not like Josephus. There's a machlokas here, the Gemara says. And machlokas tzitz. So the Kohen Gadol the rest of the week, according to Maru Rabukva, would worship in plain garments like a Kohen head yields. They only dress up special on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Whereas the other people dress up special every day. How are we doing? You know what I mean? Okay. Let's go further meantime. Okay, a more familiar topic. It gets more exciting. Not only a dime. I don't write the text. I want to remind you I don't write the text. Okay? I just say them over. Not only a dime. We wash our hands. L'chulit. For regular stuff. L'maiser. For maiser stuff. L'truma. For truma stuff. L'kodesh matbilin. Now I got confused when I saw this. You know what it means, l'kodesh matbilin? What do you have to do? Right, but what does it mean really? You dunk your hands in the mikveh. It's matpiling yadayim. If you're going to eat kodesh, you have to put your hands in the mikveh. That's the takonos chachamim. Your hands are Torah anyway. But they made a special takana. You want to eat kodesh, then you have to put your hands in the mikveh. Okay? L'chatos, by chatos, there's no such thing as just your hands. In nidmu yod of nidmu gufo. And one of the things that Chazal say or Mesakin that makes your hands tameh, such if you touch a Sefer Torah, if you're about to do a parah aduma, not only are your hands tameh, but your entire body is tameh. Okay? So you have to go mikveh your entire body. Okay? So ask the one. What? Do they have me here?
Yes.
Okay. So ask Gemara, B'yesha daim l'chulin? Is there a daim for chulin? Meaning, is there, I don't understand, why do you have to wash your hands for chulin? Is there such a thing? Let's even say it's Reb Shimon Lazar. Reb Shimon Lazar meisha daim l'chulin. Does Reb Shimon Lazar hold there's Yadayim L'chulin? Shimon Lazar holds that there's takatar when you have to wash your hands for chulin. If you touch a dead sheretz, a dead rodent, or something like that. But then your hands are takatome. Your hands become a rishon l'tuma. The sheretz is an ab. Your hands become a rishon. But what about if you didn't touch anything tome? Says where nevertheless you have to wash. Divrei hakolu kadeshi abodo min hatruma. So there is a cause of Zera Rabbanan. Even you're eating chulin, you still have to wash your hands because you might come to eat truma, even if you're not a Kohen, of course. That we're going to talk about later on. Lest you come to eat truma, and then you want to be particularly careful. All right, this one, which Gemara is going to discuss it at some length, this takana, and whether that's not the reason, we'll leave it for next week. Too stuffy.